Chip Kelly is one of the most innovative offensive minds in football. His fast pace, no huddle attack revolutionized the college game and even influenced the NFL. But being a great coach isn't just X's and O's. It's about understanding your players, putting them in the right position to succeed, and adapting when things don't go as planned. Now, as he prepares for a new challenge in the AFC West, will his offense brilliance thrive, or will his rigid philosophy be put to the test? Join Raider Mack and Raider Ken on this journey to dive in and stay to the end to look at free agency on the Raiders personnel. Raider personnel.
Raiders. In your heart, in your rooms, not in the Super Bowl. Dun, dun, dun.
That's right, baby. Chip Kelly at the helm now, an offensive coordinator. What do you think about that, man?
I like it. I mean, we paid a pretty penny, but I heard that we're battling the Houston Texans for his service. So, I'm glad we're able to beat them. Yeah. I mean, look, innovative offense. He knows how to put his players in motions. We're gonna have people in the right spots. He's gonna adapt to the type of players we have. So I'm excited. It looks like that was the guy they've been trying to work with. That's why it took so long for us. I was like, man, why come I thought it was gonna be Bevel. I was like, how come we haven't signed Bevel yet? How come we're not getting any conversations about him?
Right.
And it looks like they're like working behind scenes to get him. And of course, to good old Tom Brady working his magic. And Tom Brady came out. He was like, I want to be the guy behind the scenes. I'm not trying to be out there. He's like, I already won my championships. I'm trying to be behind the scenes. So I was like, all right, cool. So
that's great. That's great. That's what we want from an owner, man. At least an owner like that.
Yeah.
It's not especially when you got a coach like Pete and now Kelly. These are big egos, right? And they want to do their part in the job. And I'll be honest with you, man. I was a little skeptical about Chip. I was like, I don't know. His time in the NFL wasn't great.
Exactly.
After, he did just win the championship in college, Ohio, and he was offensive coordinator.
OC.
And I remember you mentioned, man, that, some coaches are just better off being coordinators, right?
Some are just coordinators. Yeah, it's just to focus on one thing. And one thing I will say from his interview earlier today, he had mentioned that there's value of just focusing on one group. He had talked about it's kind of hard when you got to focus on the whole team and you're also a play caller. You're also, big on doing certain things. Yeah. And so, based on what he was saying, it sounds like he already took care of his head coach itch. He's set to be a coordinator, which would be good for us. So we don't have to, be changing OCs every year or every 2 years or something like that. So, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited from everybody's been saying the type of offense. I don't watch too much college football, so I don't really watch the coaches and stuff like that. But everybody's talking about how that offense changed, and every year, no matter who he goes to, besides the Niners, the offense, took massive jumps.
Yeah. No,
so
his career started in the '90s, right? He went through these small schools like Columbia, John Hopkins, and they're probably big schools in their realm, but football wise is what I mean. New Hampshire, 99 through 2006, until 2007, when he became the coordinator for the Ducks, offensive coordinator for the Ducks, right? And then a year later, in 2009, becoming the coach. And now that changed his career. That's where he created this spread offense, this fast-paced offense with mobile quarterbacks and things like that. And may have even started this whole, the whole trend that's going on right now with, Lamar Jackson and all these mobile quarterbacks.
The RPOs and all that, yeah.
Yeah, man. So, that's what's really great. Unfortunately, his time, like we said, in 2015 and 2014 wasn't great with the Eagles, right? But he started off well.
First year was great, First year was great. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
fast-paced offense.
there? This was just his offense, right? Michael Vick on that team and
McCoy, LaShawn McCoy. Yeah, you had a lot of good teams, but it's hard to sustain an offense like that. You're constantly on a no huddle. What really hurt? It was great whenever you were doing good, but the negative part was you just did 17 or 30 seconds of 3 downs and you're already punting. So your defense that's tired just barely sat down and they got to go back out there and play. Yeah. Some of these defenders are playing. Yeah, exactly. So some of these defenders, they play special teams too. So, they're
That's
just
true.
constantly going. So that was
Yeah.
the real issue. And then after that, people just like, all right, this ain't working. It's the message gets tired, it gets old.
Yeah.
It's just like it just was not working for these players. And then the
Yeah.
49ers, that was just like a whole shit show. I think he
Yeah.
was trying to do the exact same thing, and I think these Niners players were like, no, no, and he had like a strict
I see. I see.
practice and stuff like
Yeah. Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
and
Strict rules
it
and
just
being a
was
strict
not,
coach.
yeah, and only lasted a year, and he was like, he's gone. He didn't even get a
Yeah.
chance to
He
implement an
also had Trent
offense.
Baalke though, and Trent Baalke was causing a
Yeah,
mess. I mean, the whole. I think this was after Harbaugh, right? So
yeah,
yeah, I think that was after that it kind of fell off for coaches on their side, until they got
hmm
Shanahan. But
right,
yeah, man.
yeah,
I mean, he went back to UCLA from 2018 to
hmm
2023, which it looked like it didn't go too well either.
yeah, yep,
I mean, sometimes performance including 9-4 in the 2022 season. But
hmm
in college, bro, it's not necessarily that great. A lot of teams are have 9-4 records and probably got
yeah,
to the bowl but didn't make it. Right, didn't
right,
pass the bowl those
right,
games.
exactly.
And then until now in Ohio State winning the championship, and
hmm
so
Yeah,
yeah, he's been busy. He's been a busy guy.
he's been busy, and it's for what we have in our offense. Pete Carroll, he's a defensive minded coach.
Right.
He doesn't need to be babysitting the offensive coordinator. You know what I'm saying? Like Scott Turner was there, but he needed his dad, to help him with stuff like that.
Yeah.
Chip Kelly,
Yeah.
Pete Carroll just be like, hey, run the offense, call the plays.
Right.
I'll tell you when we should go for it and stuff like that. I'll
Yeah.
make the final calls, but this is your show. Let me focus on defense with Patrick Graham, and that's somebody we need. Is somebody who can handle all of that. He's been a head coach. He's been an OC, and he's been an OC and a head coach in the college. So he's been around the
Yeah.
kids. He knows how they've been working with and who's been coming up.
The
Ohio
youngins. Yeah.
State.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's been playing around those other players. I'm sure he's ran into Shador, he's ran into Cam.
I see.
These
Yep.
are all
Yep.
people's
Yeah.
and quarterback, and these are people that quarterbacks that he's going to be working with, calling plays at the combine. Like all right,
Yeah.
X here, Y here, do
Right.
blah 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 this, where would the ball go, and stuff like that. So that's what's really going to be super valuable. This is the most IQ and coaching
Yeah.
tree we've ever had as Raiders, man.
Right.
Like it's pretty amazing. Yeah, like I don't
Yeah.
think we've
No.
ever seen this before.
Exactly. So how do you see? Like you mentioned, he's seen these quarterbacks. How do you see
Uh-huh.
these guys going about the draft, or even bridging in these young players that might be drafted this year?
Yeah,
If let's say we go draft Jackson Dart or Milroe,
yeah,
we're gonna have to bridge that gap, right? So
right, exactly.
Andy Dalton,
Um,
Kirk Cousins, you like, but Russell Wilson, right? It fits perfectly, right? He knows the coach,
Russell
etc.
Wilson,
Yeah,
yeah, Russell Wilson is probably like the most best ones of all the options.
yeah,
I would also say he played for the Colts, former Raven. um Joe Flacco, he's
yeah,
definitely way
yeah,
past
yeah,
his
yeah. Flacco,
prime, but
yeah,
he's a good like person to watch
good
over
teacher.
and
Yeah,
stuff like that. Yeah, good teacher.
you think
But
he
yeah,
played a
man,
part with Richardson in the Colts over there?
I'm sure,
I mean,
yeah,
because
because
he came back, right? He came
Richardson,
back for the season
yeah, yeah,
because he was benched
and
and then came back.
Richardson's a different type of player. Like he literally
Yeah.
had like maybe 13 games of college play, in his
Oh,
whole career. So it's like it's hard to pick up,
yeah,
so much when you are already so far behind.
yeah,
Somebody like Shador,
yeah,
Cam Ward, they can definitely sit a year and really learn. Not
yeah,
even a year, sit for 4, 5, 6 games and then go. Somebody like Milrow, besides the small hands, I think he would need 2 to 3 years. He's gonna need
yeah,
the guy Jordan Love effect. He's gonna need 2, 3,
yeah.
4 years to sit back and actually learn and work his
Right.
mechanical kinks. And then there's this Will Howard, the quarterback. He
Yeah,
actually, you know, coach, but that
yeah.
doesn't
Ohio
necessarily mean
State.
anything
Yeah,
either. Because I know Harbaugh, drafted Kaepernick over one of his
that's
quarterbacks
true.
that he had coached in Stanford, and
Yeah,
and he was just like, "Nah, I'm good," So it's like just because he
yeah,
coached him doesn't necessarily mean he really wants him. So
right.
he can easily go after Jackson or Shador or any of these other
Yeah,
guys instead of Will Johnson, and and
yeah.
that's okay. Because who knows him more than the guy who coached him. So if Chip Kelly didn't
True.
want him, then obviously he knows there's something that he did
There's
with him
something
that
that
he
doesn't
doesn't
fit
feel
in.
like
Yeah, exactly. No,
that
yeah, I hear you.
that could
Because I mean,
put us through the hump.
you've seen the interviews with Chip, and he says he's mentioned he's smart enough to know that an offensive coordinator works with the personnel that he has, and not
Yeah.
necessarily
Hmm.
creates these plays or for the personnel to run it.
Yeah.
He keeping in mind, Brock Bowers is out
Yeah.
there. He's keeping in mind that you may not have a mobile quarterback. And let's just
Yeah.
say we stick with AOC, right? You're gonna have to
Yeah.
create plays for that,
You're gonna have to
and
create,
you're gonna
a
need
lot of play
somebody with
actions.
like Abdullah's skills,
Yeah.
where he's mobile, fast, in the back, right? So
Yeah, for
I would
sure.
say I'd consider that kind of stuff in what he does, and I think that's
Yeah.
what makes him a little different. That he can make plays around our players as opposed to the
For
other way around.
sure. For sure. I mean, and that's like one of the things I did hear about, like people were talking about, like other players and other coaches when they were talking about Chip, is that he's changed throughout the time of coaching. Like every year he adds in something and he changes his philosophy, not his
Hmm.
philosophy necessarily, but the plays and
Yeah,
stuff and how to work it. And one thing I learned a lot is he's been running more a lot lately, and he's
yeah,
been utilizing a lot more tight ends. That's the one that stuck out the most. Like they're saying
I
he's like
see.
increased like double amount of what he does with his tight ends, and I was like,
Wow.
Brock Bowers. I
Yeah,
still am a big believer in those two tight end sets because of Michael Myers.
yeah,
We got some killers as tight ends. And so it's
right,
like just hearing
right.
all of that, getting the running game. If he either he sees something out of Sincere McCormick, or we go out there and get somebody like an Aaron Jones, or a Najee Harris from the Steelers, one of these big backs.
Yeah.
And then we can work something like that. Yeah,
Is
he
Najee
likes a
Harris
mobile
available?
quarterback. Yeah, well, if they don't resign him, he's in his final year.
Oh, I see.
They might go young. Who knows?
Nice.
So
Okay.
yeah, who knows what they're gonna do completely?
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I mean, if yeah, he likes running quarterbacks, but he also likes play action, so he will make the adjustments. Like, okay, well, let's do a lot more running and play actions, and try to
Yeah.
give time to our players to get open. Brock Bowers play action is going to be dope. Whoever else we get in the draft or free agent as well, can help out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like we just have more possibilities. It's just gonna look right. It's gonna look like
Right.
a real NFL
Yeah.
offense,
Right.
and that's what
Yeah,
I
for
that's what I
sure.
can't wait to see.
Yeah,
So
exactly. No, I'm excited
yeah,
too, man. I mean, like you said, this is probably the most elite coaching staff we've had,
oh yeah,
at least as my
oh
lifetime
yes,
as a Raider fan. So you know what I
exactly.
mean?
My lifetime. I
The-
wasn't around when John Madden was running things. Yeah,
right,
that
right, yeah.
man,
But overall, like
the
we don't
goat.
have let's say, what's his name, the Niners coaching tree, right? What's his name?
Oh, the Shanahan trees, the
The
Sean
the
McVay
Shanahan's,
trees.
not the
Yeah,
Sean McVays, not
the
even those guys, but the West Coast offense. We don't have that
the
kind of
West Coast
history. That
offense.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. What's his name? I forget his
Gruden.
name, but
Gruden had the West
no,
Coast.
well, Gruden. But I'm saying
His
everybody
his
picked up
own West Coast. Yeah.
from that Niners coach. I forgot his name. He was
Yeah.
a
Oh,
Stanford
Bill
coach as
Walsh.
well. Bill
Bill
Walsh.
Walsh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We don't have that kind of
Yeah.
legacy. We've
We don't.
created our way.
We got the Al
We're making
Davis just win, baby.
Ken Stabler. You know what I'm saying? Holy Rollers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Goes to the post or whatever the hell. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right. Yeah.
A sea of hands or whatever. Those kinds
Hmm.
of titles, right? So that's what we
We
got.
don't have the
We got like
legacy
miracle
trees.
plays, bro.
Yeah. We
We got
got
miracle
the
plays.
legacy. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really funny. Yeah.
So at
Sometimes
least
miracles
here,
against us.
yeah, usually we
Yeah.
get the short end of the stick. That's for damn
Oh
sure.
yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, Bill Walsh, man, we don't have that kind of
Yeah.
legacy, and that's my point. Is
No.
here at least, okay, yeah, we have a maverick pretty much in the offense,
Yeah.
right? Chip Kelly.
Yeah.
You
Chip
got
Kelly.
Patrick
Yeah.
Graham and the combination of Pete Carroll on the defense, man, because you
It's a
seen
lot of
what
IQ. Mhm.
his Pete Carroll's Legion of Boom and et
Yeah.
cetera, right? This history, and
Yeah.
that Patrick Graham can do a hell of a
Oh
job
yeah.
with backups. So
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
I'm excited.
Exactly.
I'm
Yeah.
excited,
I
man,
mean, this is.
and
I love to see this is exactly what Pete has said from the very first time he started talking. I'm gonna be working with people I've worked with before, people that are
yeah,
already here, and people I've never worked before. I try to see
yeah,
if they ever worked together. Pete and Chip never worked together. And this is
Yeah.
the guy he wanted. Like this was the guy
Yeah.
he wanted. He didn't want his other guys. He knew, because then that's what I like, man. Just every day I get more and more excited about Peach. Like the
Right.
73 is just like flying out of my head. Like it don't even matter no more.
It
Like the
don't
way
matter,
this
bro.
guy thinks,
Yep.
like the way he's approaching the game and approaching, like he understands what the Raiders are. He understands, like, I literally have to fix this culture. It's not
Yeah.
just about coming in and coach. He's like, I got to build something here, and that's what he's doing. And I
Yeah.
love it, man. It's so dope to see all of that coming together. And
Yeah.
I can't wait for him to coach. Like I can't wait to hear the
Yeah.
players what
Exactly.
they say after like actual practice, actual
Yeah.
training camp, after, actual, mini camp and all that stuff. Like what he brings and how excited, all that good stuff. So
Yeah. No.
great, man. Great.
We get excited every season, and get let down every season. But we get excited about a new player joining,
Yeah.
or you know what I'm saying? Like just the
Hmm.
season overall. I don't think we've ever been this excited about a coaching staff
No,
and,
never.
and
I mean,
ownership. With Brady
right?
joining the helm, and exactly. So yeah, man.
Yeah,
So
because
I'm excited.
I can't think of any coach that we had. They were like, oh, who's a possible hiring, and I was like, oh, that's dope, that's dope, that's dope. Like,
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like the most excited I've ever gotten was when I
Mm.
heard we were training for Randy Moss. That was like the most I've ever been excited. Look at that happen. So,
Yeah.
AP. I mean, when he brought, I was happy to keep him because I saw what he had, turned us over to. But I wasn't excited about like all these other coaches. Josh McDaniels, I definitely was not excited from the very beginning. I thought it was a huge mistake. And I called like the
Yeah.
first time we hired him, I was like, oh, we're gonna get
Yeah.
Jimmy porn star Garoppolo. And I was like, that's not, yeah. I was like, and then boom, it didn't even take that long for us to get him. But this one, like I don't think we've never had the coaching resume like
Yeah.
this.
This coaching
The ones
resume,
that we
exactly.
did have was because they haven't coached for like 10 years in that resume. It's like from a long time ago. Like this dude
Yeah.
was just coaching 2 years ago. He took a year off, but was still in the system and the organization, still going through, learning the players, all of this stuff. So yeah, that's
Crazy.
it's awesome. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And like I said, I love Patrick Graham. Chip. I was the same with you about the whole Chip Kelly thing. I was like, oh, really, Chip? I was like, what about these other guys?
Yeah.
Somebody somebody you have comfort
Yeah.
with, to help. But he was like, nah,
I
I
no,
want the right
I like
guys.
that he wasn't comfortable to say I want to do what I know. Instead,
Yeah,
like I'm gonna bring in something crazy because yeah, no, this offense is different. You know what I mean? This
yeah,
offense in the NFL overall is different. It's not the same
yeah.
sit back, 3-step drop, and then a long pass. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You got to be mobile. You got to
Exactly.
have motion. You got to understand
Mm-hmm.
when to call a motion
Mm-hmm.
because the so-called defensive end is not
Right.
in or he's at a certain position. Those kinds of things,
Exactly.
right? So
And then if
I think
it
it's crazy. So go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. And if it is like if there is a motion and it's like, oh, it's zone, okay, is it gonna be the same play or do they have a backup play in mind? Like,
Yeah.
all of that comes in and all of that just that takes, a coordination. So that's the benefits of having somebody like him there.
Well, that brings
And
to
like
mind, man. I
yeah,
mean, that
I'm
brings to
excited.
mind running back. What do you think from
Yeah.
the Steelers running back
Najee
uh,
Harris.
Najee Harris, yeah, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
who else could be out there? I mean, like
Najee Harris, Aaron Jones, former Packers, and then I think he played for a year with the Vikings last year.
yeah,
He's definitely much older. He's in the 30s, so he's not going to be
yeah,
starting. So this is assuming we're keeping Sincere McCormick as the young
right,
buck, and
right.
drafting a running back in the third or fourth rounder. Um, and so yeah, so you'll have that power back. Abdul. Yeah, there's always a possibility of bringing back Abdul. He is a year
Yeah,
older. We have Labe there. He's supposed to be the
yeah. He's supposed to
position
be
that Abdul is
decent. Yeah,
taking. Like if he's not going to do that, then what's the point of having him taking a spot? So
yeah,
that's the kind of things you got to go about. And
yeah.
I mean, we
Return
saw
kick.
this year. You got to have four or
He's
five running backs,
returning.
right? Yeah, yeah, he's a returner.
Yeah, no, that's
But
true. Yeah, you
you
gotta
got to
have.
have four or five running backs. Like
Yeah,
our three guys got in, or two guys got injured, and we had to go get two guys from the practice squad. So
yeah.
it just you can always have more. But Abdullah did do better this year that he might actually get contracts from somebody else. He
You
ain't gonna
think
get like
Zamir
a
White
lot of money.
could fit in here? You think Zamir
Nah,
White? I mean,
I think I'm done with him. Like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and it's just. I don't know what it is. It's just he doesn't have that IQ of a running back. Like he just sees the
Mm-hmm.
hole and hit,
Mm-hmm.
and he just can't do that.
He's more of a
Um,
fullback style. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, but and he's a free agent too. I think if he's not a free agent,
No,
then
no,
yeah,
he's
sure,
not.
why
He's
not?
he's still around. I think
Yeah,
he
then
he still has a
give
year.
him the chance. Yeah, give him
Yeah.
a chance then. And if it doesn't work out, you just put him in the practice squad or you cut him.
Yeah.
That's what the preseason's for, to figure that part out. But yeah, man, and that's pretty much it. Like when it comes to other trades or anything like that, it's gonna be tough. Like yeah, we got 92
Yeah.
million, but we got to pay Crosby. The
Yep.
reason why we have so much cap is we got 26 free agents. You know what I'm saying? Like if you think about Trayvon, Spillane, um, Debo, not Debo, Kuntz and Hobbs. That's four
Yeah.
people. And like if they get like the market value or less,
Right.
let's say 8 million a piece.
It's
The
a big chunk.
Kuntz maybe 10 because he's a DN. Spillane might get 8. That's a good 30, 40 mil right there. And
Yeah.
bam, now we're down to 50, 55 mil. And that's four
Yeah.
players. And we're missing 26. So we're
Yep.
down to 22 players that we have to like replace or
Woo.
find something
Yeah.
better. So, it gets tough. Like, yeah, we got all this money, but what do we do with it? And it's
Yeah.
what really going to matter.
I think
Now,
GM
at least we got
Spytek
a,
is gonna be great.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, for sure. And that's the benefits of having an OC right now. Like Chip Kelly, what do you want? What do you need? Let's
Uh-huh.
find the players that look like what you want. Um, you might
Let's
get
hope
some
so.
undrafted free agents, undrafted rookies.
Yeah.
That's probably been in Ohio State or whatever the college he was working at, and bring those into the system as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
we can do some things.
So you
I'd
telling
love
me?
the Miles Garrett trade.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Are you telling me we can't go out and get Miles Garrett?
Can we?
I mean, what would you give up? Well, you'd have to give up a little, right? A little too
I'd
much, I
have
would say.
no. You'd have to give up a
Huh?
lot. You can't give
Yeah.
up this year's first round because you need it for if Shador's not there,
Yeah.
you could do it then.
Yeah.
But if Shador's there, even like he's not the consensus number one, anything like that, like
If he's in
the
the
other
reach,
guys,
yeah.
yeah, the other guys behind him is, if you don't feel like comfortable with them, you have to get them. Now, if they're willing to take
Right.
a second this year, next year first, and
Hmm.
and some combination of that, maybe Jack Jones, throw in a
Yeah.
player or something, then yeah, I'd be down for that. Miles Garrett, that's going to be 55 million right there. So our
Yeah.
95 is about to go down
It's a
to 40
dwindle.
mil
Yeah.
to replace
Yeah.
26 players that we lost. So if we get him, we ain't getting Spillane and all these other guys back.
Right.
So,
Right. Right. Yeah.
but
No, it's a tough
our
spot to be in,
defense,
but yeah, it would
yeah,
just kill everybody, right? I mean, I think
like yeah, because
Max,
Hobbs is the only one that's
Garrett,
not. Yeah,
Wilkerson, oh,
Hobbs is a
Coons.
free agent. Like we still got Jacorian Bennett. We
Yeah.
still have the rookie from last year. Like, yeah, he played bad, but he was
Yeah.
a rookie.
Yeah.
He's
Richardson or
literally
something. Yeah.
injuries pushed in as a starter going against the very best. It's like, yeah, he's gonna have some learning
Yeah.
pains.
Yep.
We still
Yep.
got Jack Jones. Jack Jones could
Yep.
turn it around. Pete, Jack Jones is a smaller Richard Sherman. You know what I'm saying? Aggressive
Yeah.
that can like to play ball hawk, playmaker, gets his
Yeah.
hands on you. Maybe he
Right.
does
Right.
something a little different with Carroll. Patrick Graham is still there. It's a familiar face that he knows the defense
Right.
and stuff like that. So, if we do get Garrett, we gotta hope that these guys coming up are gonna like fill up the roles, and then we'll have to take more chances on dudes that are like coming off of injuries or coming off of down years, and they're taking a 1 year prove it deal
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Which Kavion Chase is one of the ones that we had to do for that for last year. So it's not saying it's a bad thing. Somebody
Yeah.
can bring up their value like that. And then I
Yeah.
think we got what 12 picks. 12 picks. Pete Carroll has a very good reputation of drafting good players. Spytech, we can talk about everything Tampa Bay has done where he's went.
Right. Right.
So we got a good mindset over there. So I think if we do Miles Garrett, we can work around it because Miles Garrett makes your corners, your secondaries better by himself.
Better. Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
So
What
you
if the
think it's
quarterback only
worth it?
has 1 second to
Yeah.
react?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I hear you. But you think it's
Yeah.
worth it? You think it's worth a shot to get Garrett if they if they can work it
If
out.
we can if we can draft Shador number 6 and they're willing to take a number 1 next year, a number 2 this year, and and then
Yeah.
everything else can be negotiated, like I mean, I'll even do a next year and a year after one. But as long as we get Shador,
Right. Right.
then yes.
Right.
Yes.
Get the
I
missing
am
piece, the missing
down.
link for sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I am
And what about
down.
Cooper Cup? He's getting traded. Apparently, he had news. It was the other day. I think it was Monday.
Yeah.
He's not happy with the trade,
He was like,
though.
America, I'll let you know right now. I didn't choose this trade. This trade was put on me. And I want you to know it ain't my fault. But when I come play against y'all, I'm bringing it out. ah, man,
Yeah, he's not
dude.
happy, man. What do you
Yeah.
think the Raiders could do with that? Anything?
Nah.
Yeah.
Like, dude's always injured. Like, yeah, you're like, trade for him? Nah. I'd rather release, and then if he's released, why would he pick us? You know what I'm saying? The
Yeah.
Chargers need help badly. So I would definitely, if, I'm a Raiders fan, but if I was not a Raiders fan and that was him, I was like, okay,
Yeah.
Herbert and Harbaugh, Aiden O'Connell, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, I'm going to go with Herbert.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a lot more options he could pick from. The Steelers need a second.
Yeah.
The Texans need somebody. Hate to say it, the fucking Chiefs. They can always
Fucking
use a
Chiefs.
a receiver
Fucking.
that's like trying to build their value up. Yeah, bro, I hate him
Yeah.
fucking hate him. So yeah, I mean, I don't see him picking. I only see the way we do it is if we trade for him, but I'm not trying to trade that cap for somebody that's only going to
Yeah.
play 8 or 9 games. So, he's like,
True.
this is the healthiest
True.
I've
He's
ever
been
been.
injured.
It's
Yeah.
like, well, you've only played
You've only played
14
2-3
games in
seasons.
2 years. It's like, I don't know if you know this, man. There's
Yeah,
16 games
man.
in the season, Cup. It's like, you can't play 12, 13 in 2 years.
God, yeah, no,
So,
that's bad.
yeah, I
That's
mean,
bad. But
it's pretty. I could see us trading like pieces of like the Seahawks. Maybe players
yeah,
that they don't see in their future, or maybe they draft like a better version of that player, and somebody that can be, or somebody that might be coming up in a contract year, and they'll get something out of it. I could see
right.
that kind of trade. But no, big. I don't think the Garrett one. I mean, he said he wants to win. It's not about money. So
Yeah,
I don't know what he'll see about us if we consider us a winning team or at least an up and coming team. Like, he's like, oh
yeah.
shit, Pete Carroll,
But you said
Carroll,
there's
Max
still
Crosby.
yeah, too many things to go right to get Garrett, dude. You got like you said, you got to
Mm-hmm.
get Sanders. You got to work through that, and then
Yeah,
of course, fit the pieces, and then make sure you got the rest of the defense covered. So, because you for
exactly.
sure got you got unrestricted free agency with Trayvon,
Oh yeah,
and then a restricted free agency with Polamalu. So
yeah.
Polamalu,
Palomalo, I think
Polamalu.
Mau. I think he will get Mau 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 Mau. I think
Yeah,
I think Mao will be the easiest one to get back because he was so young. Trayvon, he attracted some people, so he might get a good. I heard some people say he might be in the 12, 13 million
yeah.
dollar range. Um, so
Okay.
he's
See,
definitely going to
okay.
get a boost. But
Yeah.
there's also Javon Holland. So we got to see. He's much older, but he's
Yeah.
also very skilled. So you got to see that part where the price matches. But yeah, I mean, look, if we don't get Shador, like let's say if Shador is drafted, we trade that one for Garrett, yeah, because it was either going to get a receiver or DN. Um, and so you put him across Max. But then I don't want to trade our second rounder because then we could use our
Yeah.
second round pick for Jackson or Milrow.
Jackson
Or,
Dart.
yeah, I mean you talked me out of Milrow with the small hands. He's going to need 2 years and he's got small hands. It's like, all right.
Yeah,
So
no, that's what I heard. Hey,
yeah,
that's what the scouts are saying, man. That he's got
yeah,
small hands.
running
So
running quarterback with small hands, easy to fumble.
yeah,
You know,
it's yeah, Dylan
it's
Loeb incident right there.
exactly. And then like I said, I don't watch too much of the high school of the college games, but
Yeah.
the Jackson guy, they all these kids need work,
No,
even the
I
the
think he's
top
a
two.
sophomore too. I don't think he's like a
Yeah,
senior. He's only been like
yeah,
2 years in college, and then he had one full season. So
yeah. Let him
I don't
sit
think.
then. Let him
Yeah, I don't.
sit.
Yeah.
Let him sit. Let him learn. Let's bring in. We
Jackson
can just
Dart,
get
on the
rid.
other hand, though, he played the whole season, and even
Yo,
in
that's what I
this
meant. Yeah,
Senior
Jackson
Bowl,
Dart.
right? Yeah. But
Mm-hmm.
Milroe, he only played one season.
Yeah, he needs
And
2 or 3 years.
yeah,
For
so
sure. Jackson, I think you go 1 year, or depending on how good he does, because some people just do that explosion, that they're
yeah,
just meant for the NFL,
yeah.
or meant for an NFL
Who came
offense.
from Alabama last
And
year's draft? Sorry, man, I didn't mean to cut you off, but just the thought it popped
all
into my
right,
head.
who did Alabama have as quarterback? Jalen Milroe. This is his first year. Who came out last year? I know Mac Jones was a couple years before.
Let me see.
I can't
I could
remember.
be. It's Bryce Young, dude.
Bryce Young, that's right. Yeah, Bryce Young was
Yeah,
last year, and then he took
this is
over.
who Milroe was behind last year.
Bryce Young, and Bryce. I
Yeah,
mean, Bryce Young was really good in college, um, but he's also a small quarterback. So, and I mean, he's doing really good his second year. His first year was horrific. He's
mm-hmm.
doing a lot better the second year. I mean, I will say the second year started off horrific as well, like it was the first year, and then they benched him. But then when
Yeah,
they benched him, they brought in Andy Dalton, and he learned from Andy Dalton. The benching was a wake up call, and then after 4 or 5 weeks, they put him back in, and he started playing a lot better. Like at the point where they're like, "We got our quarterback of the future." So
yeah,
yeah, I mean that's what it is. Like the system, the coaching. Like I said, we have a great coaching staff. We got a great coaching support system. We got a great O line. What's the quarterback's best friend? The center and the tight end. We got that. We might have we definitely have a top
yeah.
three
True.
center. Might be the best center this year, and we have no question the best tight end in the league right now. And so yeah,
Yeah,
everything else, you're just adding to that. Because, the good thing is we don't have an image. Like, yeah, we want to run and everything, but, right now,
right,
Brock Bowers
right,
is our image,
right,
but
right.
that's not really an image. It's like we have the tight end to do anything that can block, that can play
Well, I mean,
heavy,
the
that can
Chiefs.
play
Could you
deep.
say the Chiefs have an identity or image that
Mahomes,
basically, yeah, it's
it's
Mahomes,
Mahomes.
but
Yeah.
right, but everything else is
Yeah.
like freestyling, bro. It's like not that you can't
You're
say
right.
they're
That's why it's
consistently throwing, they're
Mahomes.
consistently,
Yeah.
running. Yeah,
Right,
no,
like the
that's facts.
Ravens, you can easily say, it's a running team. Yeah, Lamar Jackson throws, but he also runs. So they want to play
Yeah,
run, they want to play hard defense. That's the identity. The Chargers don't have an identity. Well, their identity now is running, and that's what Harbaugh is trying to make it, a running
right.
first identity team with that kind of quarterback. So there's teams that have identities and teams that don't. Mahomes is the identity. That's why that's the free the free play that he can do and all the stuff.
Yeah,
Jalen Hurts and then the identity is RPO. Run first, throw some balls to
yeah,
AJ Brown with the
yeah,
they got elite
and now
receivers, man.
Saquon. Yeah, now
Yeah,
Saquon.
they
So
got badass receivers, and they still run because that's who Jalen Hurts is, and Saquon. But they're running a lot more before Saquon was there as well.
yeah,
So
yeah,
our image is what we don't have one. We
yeah.
were trying to make the image of a run team with AP,
Yeah, run
which it
first
didn't
team.
happen.
Mm,
And then by the time Sincere came in, we were already on to Nerf Turner. We were afraid to run, so we did a lot of
yeah,
delays and shotgun handoffs. So now with Sincere there and actually having an offense with a competent OC, we can actually build an identity that we want to do, which will come with the culture. The culture coming, and then the identity, and then we go from there. Because even
right.
Chip Kelly, you can't say what's his identity because he said straight up from the interviews, like, I work with what we got and I adjust. And he's like,
Yeah,
not all quarterbacks. He's like, yeah, I would love a 6'4", 250-pound quarterback that runs a 4.44. He's like, but we just don't exist. He's like,
yeah.
you get what you have there. You do your
That's crazy.
your math and you see what you
Yeah,
can do with that. And if you can win with him, then you build that offense. And I was like, all right. So yeah, that's why I feel good with him. And
yeah, man.
yeah, I think we got this. We got our coaches. Now it's just getting ready to work.
That's right. That's right.
Uh,
Getting back to work is what we're gonna do, and we're gonna
Raiders.
get a damn win in the playoffs. Hopefully. I
Hopefully,
mean,
yeah.
yeah,
Seriously,
man.
yeah.
I think the roster, not the roster, the schedule is out already. So we'll take a look and we'll go over the
Oh
schedules maybe
yeah.
sometime.
next
what that's gonna look
episode
like.
or the episode after.
Whatever we feel like. Yeah.
Whenever we feel like. Off season's the off season.
That's right. Raider!
Raiders. Chip Kelly.
You suck.
They suck. Go Philly Eagles.